All right, we're going to the chocolate museum. I just got to get out my tickets here. Oh, well, I'll do that when I go in. But this is the huge building. There's a museum inside, and gonna see out. It's about some GANONG chocolate or whatever. I'm not a fan of it, but get on.
A little bit of chocolate history. So basically, chocolate was kind of founded by these people called the speculators and the mayors. So basically, they found like a cocoa pod such as this. This is kind of like a life-saving model. There's an actual cocoa pod over there that will showcase.
Oh.
And then also in that showcase, you'll actually see the little beans.
Cocoa beans.
So basically, these little white things right here are actually the beans. And so what they would do is that they take them out and put them in like these little like rock bowls and crush them until they were like a fine powder. And then they would put them in some sort of like a dairy product, like milk or like a cow or goat or something else like that. And they would mix it with actual spices. And so they would have this cold, frothy spice drink. And how they would actually make chocolate, and who are the biggest cocoa processors?
Yeah.
Would be United States, Switzerland, Italy, Germany, Belgium, and then this one doesn't light up. But this is basically the most chocolate lovers, and then the answer to that would be Canada and the United States.
Ah.
Over here, this is just a little area where it shows that chocolate beans were actually more everything at one point when everything was just a trade. That's that area. Over here, we have a little video if you guys would like to watch it.
Okay.
We'll just brief you up on what some of the rooms in the factory used to be, and just fun stuff like that. And would everyone like the English version?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What you are about to see is footage taken before 1990 in the original GANONG line. This building, before the factory moved to One Chocolate Drive. First you see the chocolatier store, which still operates in this building. The Chocolate Museum, which opened in 1999, is located in the corner, under the small round protrusion, which has since been taken down. GANONG Brothers Limited began its business in 1873, and the original plant was constructed in 1886. It was built in sections, which is on the Mark Street side of the building, was erected in 1952. Here we see Bill Burns making a batch of peppermint-flavored white cream in open stainless steel kettles. The stirring ensures that it will be smooth and also keeps it from burning. Jim Tozer is adding an ingredient, and Bill is adding basic fondant, which acts as a seed for the batch, all of which will become the cream center. Once completed, it will be formed into the correct shape before being coated in chocolate. Now we pay a visit to the nougat department. Nougat is a piece of candy that's a lot chewier than a cream center and a little chewier than marshmallow. Once the nougat is cooked in the kettle, it's placed on a marble slab to solidify. Later, it will be cut into pieces, covered in chocolate. Our next stop is the panning room, where you can see Richard Higgins making jelly beans. Jelly beans start with clear jelly centers placed in pans, as you see here. Sugar, color, and flavor are added to the revolving pan until the jelly beans are the correct size. They are then taken to the next step, called polishing, before being put into bags. Now we've arrived at the hand dipping department. Hand dipping is a very special art done by only 3 or 4 hand dippers in the company today. According to the late Whitten GANONG, There were at one time over 300 hand dippers in the GANONG business. Of course, that was before machine dipping, or machine enrobing as it's currently called. Here we see Marie Robinson, Geraldine
You're gonna get a lot of arthritis.
and Lillian Arsenault skillfully hand dipping. Let's watch Marie for a moment. As she puts the chocolate on the tray or plaque, as they used to be called, her thumb puts the design on top. Each hand-dipped piece has its own unique design on the top of the chocolate. In a process patented by Gilbert Ganong in 1888, each hand-dipped piece is placed on a celluloid pad containing embossed characters that imprint the bottom with the letters GB Ganong, meaning Ganong's best. Once the tray is filled, it's moved to an area where the temperature is kept at 66 degrees Fahrenheit, so the chocolate can solidify. Beginning in 1906 and up to the late 1970s, Ganongs made their own chocolate right here in this building. The process of making chocolate requires a whole different set of machinery from that needed for melting and coating. Near the end of the chocolate making process, before being transferred to the enrobing machine, the ingredients must be ground. This is done by a conching machine, resulting in smooth, velvety eating chocolate. This conching machine was state-of-the-art in the late 1940s. This next area is where chocolates are dipped by machine in a process called enrobing. This machine carries the centers through a flowing curtain of chocolate that covers both the top and the bottom. In this picture, marshmallow hearts are being made. The chocolates then pass through a cooling tunnel to solidify them gradually. Here we see a strawberry cream having the bottom coated before being totally covered in chocolate. As each candy leaves the machine, a little nozzle squirts chocolate on the top. This mechanically creates the unique design for each type of candy, much like the designs the human dippers were creating by hand earlier. After the chocolates go through cooling tunnels, they're collected and placed on trays, ready to be packed into boxes. Now we're on the top floor, where the old plant's box-making shop was located. Ganongs used to make all of their own boxes. Here we see Larry Kirk feeding cardboard into a scoring and cutting machine to prepare it to make a box. Next, he notches out the corners so that the box can be formed properly.
Geez, don't want to get your hand stuck under there.
This lady is doing what's called staying of the boxes. She operates a semi-automatic machine that puts tape on each corner to make a very strong container called a setup box. In this next step, Kay Richard is covering the box with paper, which also adds to its strength. Using a paintbrush, she paints the table with hot glue, dips the paper in the glue, and making sure there are no wrinkles in it, applies the paper to the box. These two ladies, Melva Colford being one, are forming Delecto boxes. You can see the difference between this process and the earlier one. These are folding boxes. Next, the boxes and trays pass along in front of the packers who fill them with chocolates. The packed boxes then pass over a metal detection machine and a scale to ensure proper weight. Moving along the conveyor, pads and lids are placed on top of each box, and then it's wrapped in cellophane. Helena Rye adds a gold cord to the box, which is then packed into a carton or display unit of the sort you see in stores. These are cherry-centered chocolates going through the same process.
That's way too stressful for me.
No. Probably getting $4 an hour back then.
Here we see heart-shaped Valentine boxes being prepared. GANONG introduced the first Valentine heart box in North America in 1932. Because of its shape, a somewhat different process was needed to cover the box with cellophane. The heart-shaped box was placed upside down, the cellophane was gathered together, and the iron came down to seal it. This was a homemade process, and it worked very well. Now we're moving to the machine packing mode, where you can see how a horizontal form and fill machine works. This is the machine that produces the famous GANONG Palomine bar. The company invented the bar in 1919, and it's been a very popular bar ever since. Once the bars are made, they proceed to the form and fill machine. Here you can see the Palomine wrappers being formed, filled with a bar, and then cut and sealed on both ends to make the familiar pillow pack. Then they are picked up and placed in boxes. Finally, we see what's called the oiling of the tubes. In this process, a bit of edible oil is placed on the tubes and fruit snacks. Here we see Ora Scott adding the oil and then dumping the tubes into wooden trays. Fruit snacks are put on a conveyor that takes them into a hopper. From there, they go to another form and fill machine, also known as a volumetric machine. This one has two heads that deliver a measured amount of candy for wrapping. While the Palomine wrapper is a horizontal machine, this one is a vertical form and fill machine. It's doing exactly as its name suggests. It forms the bag or package, fills it with candy, and seals it. Here, the packages are being placed in boxes. And that's Kelly Worrell closing the boxes. After almost a century in this original factory, the company ceased production at this site. In 1990, GANONG invested several $1 million to construct a new, state-of-the-art manufacturing facility in St. Stephen.
That's the building I saw
at
today.
1 Chocolate Drive, and expanded this new factory again in 2003. As we finish our tour of GANONG's original plant, we come back to the chocolatier, which still has the historic look of an old-fashioned candy store. Indeed, the chocolatier is very much a specialty store, carrying all of GANONG's handcrafted products, as well as the company's other candies and chocolates. Be sure to drop in for a visit and enjoy.
Nice.
Alright, how's the video?
Good.
Good. Perfect. So, you follow me over here.
Oh,
We
wow.
have this big old picture right here, and I'm just going to kind of explain what's going on in it.
Yep.
So
That's what I'm
basically this So basically, the first picture over there, that is James GANONG. He is James. I always forget he's the youngest and the eldest. James is the eldest by 10 years. So basically, James loved horses. He loved horses so much that when he grew up, he became a jockey. So basically, what a jockey is, he basically so side of the offices, so if you're going to get hired, you're on the seat, and if you're going to get fired, you're on the seat. So it's a little bit of a hit or miss. There's some sweet and some bitter. Over here is a little glimpse into what the offices would look like. So they have like their typewriters and all their files and all the fun stuff. Some newspaper clippings, the Lucky Bucks with the baby kind of like gift certificates at the time.
Oh.
You can see old chats that have like little GANONG logos on them.
Oh, yeah.
And then here is all like the GANONG signatures. This right here is a signature book to be who they would have did business with. So like we actually help produce chocolates for other companies. This would be where they sign like their contract and their signature would be in their books. So they would remember who what
Yeah.
they were working with.
Cool.
I believe there's like some little bus passes in here, and little journal logs, and just a bunch of fun stuff like that. This over here is just a little quick sketch of what the museum, it's kind of a museum, what the factory used to look like. So this is still actually the storefront, and it always was the storefront. And then in the rest of the building, like that here, this part used to be all the original factory. And then the rest of these sections were all extended on through the years until burned down. So this room over here, that's the one that I was pointing out earlier. This would have been the hard candy room. So you can see a man over here, he is making chicken bones, and we actually still make them the same way. So what he's doing is the table that he's rolling it out on is heated by steam. So basically he has a pot of boiling water and it's keeping the water or the table hot, and he's rolling out and he's going to keep kneading it until it's like around that wide. So
Oh my goodness.
it's a long and hot process.
Yeah, jeez.
This right here, this is Ernie. And basically she was one of, she handed with us for the longest time. She was one of the best at the time. And they actually, when she retired, they named a whole floor after her.
Aww.
That was the floor for the hand stitches. And then over in this area where it says G right here, that building is actually where we made all of our boxes. So we did everything all in the same area, same building. So this is where we made our boxes, and that's actually where we invented the heart-shaped box.
Oh.
So, speaking of the heart-shaped box, there's a couple examples right here.
Oh, cool.
If you look at them, at those two over there, they're actually Christmas themed or winter themed. That's because the heart-shaped box was originally meant for Christmas.
Oh.
But one of our salesmen thought this would be way better for Valentine's Day. So we let the Christmas boxes go out, but they kept the idea for some of the other months to follow.
Oh.
So eventually when Valentine's came around, he presented the idea to the board, and they loved it. Commercial with GANONG.
Holy.
Which way it turns.
Since 1872. These are our very best. Delecto. 21 deliciously different centers. Thick with chocolate. Very chocolate nuts in Delecto. Nougats, caramels, and cherries. We still hand dip the almonds. Take it from one from those chocolates. Give our best this Christmas. They might cost a little more, but they're worth it. Look for the gold coat. GANONG Delecto.
So that last line right there would eventually go on to be an iconic line for us.
Yeah.
They may cost more, but they're worth it. So he would eventually go on to say that in every commercial he was in, and even some of our like newer ones that would have been animated, they would also still advertise that saying. And then over here, this is all packaging based towards the French Acadian tale called Evangeline. So basically, if you don't know the story of Evangeline, she was a young woman who fell in love with a man, and eventually they got separated after only like a couple days of knowing each other. They were put on boats. All the women were on one boat, and all the men were on the other. And they went their separate ways.
Oh.
So after they were separated, she vowed her life to find him. But eventually, she was recruited into the army as a nurse. But he was also recruited into the army as a fighter. And the first time that she's seen him in a long time, he was actually on his deathbed.
Oh.
So she held him and he died in her arms.
Aw.
So basically, the GANONG brother loved that story so much, it touched them in their little hearts, and they thought they would advertise Evangeline for 75 years.
Oh, wow.
So she was kind of like a little mascot of the company for a super long time, to the point where they have her own boxes, and they have paintings of her in the
On the letters.
They're for like her stamps. They're on the checks. Like they made like card bump stickers. They advertised as much as they could. the like little time slips. They had our little face on them. And then they even made chocolate bars afterward. They made 3 flavors. We only have 2 here, but it's vanilla, strawberry, and caramel.
Oh.
And then that's the original book by the writer. Later it would also be shortened into a long poem.
Oh.
So this little hole here is basically packaging throughout the year.
Do it this way.
These packagings right here, they're narrow, and that is for a reason. Back when the men were in the military, whenever they see a nurse that they would fancy, they would buy chocolates, put it in their little vest pocket, and then present it to them when they were, getting looked at by the nurse.
So you're going.
Over here, he's actually King George and the Prince. And a fun fact about the one of King George is that they got the nose wrong. So they had to repackage it. And the only reason how we found out that it was wrong was because we already released it. People were telling us. So we had to remake it and send it back out.
Wow.
Look at the dog one.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit more modern pieces.
Yeah.
Like there's the one that was based off the commercial we just watched. And it was actually made for his birthday. As you can see, they had a little sugar packet design for his birthday.
Oh, I'm going to.
And this black box right here is one that I remember from when I was little. They don't make it that way anymore, but it's still a similar
No,
And then right here, this is really where we would talk about Chocolate Fest and what's going to be happening in the next week. But sadly, it was canceled.
This is the boxes.
The manager, Jen, has managed to take a lot of the festivities and put it into a box and mail it out to people.
Oh, cool.
And she spent months organizing that. This is her first year being a manager for them, and she had to deal with all this.
Oh.
She is a trooper.
Yeah.
But sadly, they are all sold out, so it's not. Can't offer any.
Yeah.
Well, normally what would have happened is we would have had parades, we would have had fireworks, we would have had like fun little things for the kids to do, so it would have been like children's day rugby and non-tackle football and stuff like that. Brianna, this is Brianna, that's her father David. They also did like a lot of fundraising for cancer awareness during this time. And then we would also have hand dipping and pudding eating contests for the kids. So the kids would actually have their try at hand dipping every now and again.
Cool.
And that actually it would happen right either by the library, the last year it was right in the parking lot here. And on the last day of Chocolate Fest, we actually have a giant cake that the whole town, the town or the company that is called the town, I guess, they would raise up money and they would buy a cake for actually what would be the entirety of the town. So we would all get together, we'd have one giant cake.
Wow. Cool.
Alright, and this giant door right here, that's called a fire door. So basically we had these in every entry in the factory. So when a fire would be happening in this room, this rope had a weight tied to it. So when a fire was in this room, the rope would melt, the weight would fall into this bucket, and it would make a loud clang. And then this door, where the loss of the weight, would slam shut to help prevent fire from leaving the food. Sadly, that didn't always work. We would eventually go on to have 3 fires.
Oh.
And then the one in 1903 would cause us to relocate.
Oh. Oh.
But another fun thing about this bucket is that a lot of the employees who work in the factory would walk around, put some chocolates in there, keep walking, put a little more in, and then try to take it home. They would put 2 of them comfortably behind the chocolate, but then they'd be silly enough to not realize that the bottom's rounded. They'd put it down, and all the chocolates would spill out, and would make a fire.
Oh.
There's a picture right behind you guys. This one's of what the factory used to look like. As you can see, there's some old equipment. There's the ladies, they would have been hand dippers. These men would have been the machine workers, it's the packaging. And then this one looks like they would have been working on a hard candy. And then this picture over here, if you remember the man from the commercial and how he said that he would grow up to marry one of his employees, this would be her right here.
Oh.
Now, she was one of the fastest hand dippers in the company, so of course she made the most money because she made the most profit. Her name would have been Eleanor Gifflin. And he fancied her for around 10 years until she finally said yes to being engaged.
Oh, wow.
So she didn't actually want to marry up in the company until she felt like she earned her place. So she refused for 10 years until she finally felt that she was worthy of being able to, but she didn't want everyone to think she was making more money because she was married to him. So when she finally made her stamp and made her little name for herself, that's when she finally accepted to be married. This is our old peppermint machine. So right now I will have to apologize. I'm going to rant on out of peppermints. We have canceled them.
Oh, really?
So the reason why, as you see in this picture, this is a peppermint machine. It's the same one we still use today.
Oh, wow.
So this is a really old machine. We used to have two. And then that old fire that caused us to relocate, these crashed through the floor and scattered in our basement. So we had to reassemble them, and we only had one left. Recently, the parts began to malfunction, and it wasn't working properly. And we can't find any of the old parts for it, so they don't make them anymore.
Yeah.
So we can't make the peppermints the way that we used to, so we just decided to cancel the line.
Oh, wow.
And the machine, that would be the reason why.
Wow.
And this right here, we call this a secret recipe. This is just a little
Sorry,
story
Daddy.
of Chris, the Lebanon. He was actually the one who made the peppermint recipe. It's actually a family recipe. We don't have the enough supplies to get rid of the two that we have for a couple of years to get more and to train them. So actually, and one of the reasons why it takes so long is that they have to be able to tell the temperature of the chocolate with their hands.
Oh, my.
So, and if it's a degree too hot, it'll melt off the centerpiece. And if it's too cold, it'll be clumpy, and it just won't be a nice texture, and they won't like it as much. So normally what they do is that they take the little center, and it's kind of like a cake center. And if you look right here at the dark chocolate truffle sign, that's what the centers look like. They'll take those and they'll dip it in the tray. They'll hold it like this. They'll dip it up, and then they kind of shake the chocolate up. They set it down, and they take their thumb or pinky, and they'll do the design like that. And that's basically how they would do the hand dipping. Over here, this is where they actually make the centers. It's the same room. Easy enough. They actually make them to the point where it's just a little bit more soft than a cheesecake texture. And what they do is that they cut it up into blocks, and then they rip it a little bit off the block, and then they roll it until it's around that big. And now the truffles, they are double dipped. And by double dipped, I mean they just let the chocolate stay on there a little bit longer. So there is around 2 times more chocolate than there are machine-made chocolate. So we do say they are worth their buck. They're around $1.14 a piece, but of course they are handmade. There's extra chocolate on them, and there's a little bit of love. So.
My name is Brenda, and I am one who asked for remaining GANONG hand dipper slab. There are only 4 of us that do know the actual hand in the chocolate trade of dipping. 1964 was the last year they trained. They have not trained anyone since. Back in those days, 3 to 5 year training was required.
Yes, that's how they do it.
We had well over 100 different centers that we had to learn to dip. Along with the ability to dip them, we also had to be able to make the correct design or pattern that went on top. To a trained individual, that person would know exactly what that item was. Now, it's not too bad today. We're down to approximately 35 handmade, hand-dipped diamonds. These products, the chocolatier store in the front has exclusive rights to them. It's the only place that you can buy a GANONG hand-dipped product. I'm working with the milk chocolate. In the factory, we use milk, we use a dark chocolate, and for pastel shades, white, yellow, pink, sometimes green, depending on the season or occasion. Now, all of the chocolate that I have mentioned, they all have one thing in common. That's their temperature. but they all work with at a different consistency. Now the proper temperature for chocolate, 87 to 88 degrees Fahrenheit. 1 or 2 degrees warmer or cooler, and you will ruin the effect of the chocolate. The centers, well, these centers are a fudge center. They're good. Everybody today has told me just how good they are. But regarding a hand-dipped product, they simply would not be considered of a high enough quality. The centers for hand dipping, they are made exclusively for that purpose, and in a minute you'll understand why. The next thing would be your coating of chocolate. If the same piece of fudge were to get through the enroller, well, the enroller is the machine that puts the chocolate coating on, but it has a blower. It's going to blow off any excess chocolate. But when the hand dipper puts the chocolate on, for those that love the chocolate, 2 to 3 times more chocolate per piece than if it had been done by the machine. I wonder if I could have someone start passing out some samples. I really request that you will take a moment, turn them over.
So what are they?
In here are peppermint creams in a tin box. In the gold boxes are caramel and a maple cream.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
So that paper was patented in 1888 by Gilbert Noel, exclusively for this hand products. He knew it had a good he proved it. So when you have a moment to look at how to make the chocolate, you should find the infant baby GANONG, and only on the bottom are handmade hand-dipped chocolate. We find the same thing. Never on the shoulder. The GD stands for GANONG's best. So that will give you a better idea of why from the premium centers to the premium method of dipping. It's because it does represent the name of the company that it's famous for. Now, I guess I told you a little bit earlier that 1964, the last year they trained. Well, I was that last person to be trained as a hand dipper in 1964.
Oh, wow.
I invite you to enjoy the rest of your tour. If you happen to think of something a little later on, or perhaps if you'd like to come back for another treat, please enjoy your tour.
My sister worked at the old factory here. Her daughter worked at the new one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We just finished the chocolate museum. Now we're going into the chocolate store. Probably not going to buy anything because it's $1 million. But we'll see.
I might buy, what do you call it? Halibut.
Not me.
Oh, I should just get it at the store.
They're $1.55. That's the thing that we saw that they were making on the video.
These look like turtles.
So they don't make the peppermints anymore.
Well, there's mints.
Yeah, I know, but they don't make like those peppermints, you know,
I don't know.
the pink ones.
Oh, remember that?
Yeah.
How much are these?
Those are $2.40.
And how much are these?
$4.
$2.40. I really like those though. Oh, it's dark chocolate though. Is this dark chocolate?
Yeah, but it's always dark chocolate with the whatever they're called. Oh, they got like chocolates over there. Yeah, these are $4. Alright, so I'm just sitting here editing. Mom and Dad actually just left to go see one of Mom's friends and I have a lot of footage to edit, so I thought I'd just stay back. But I forgot, I didn't show you the room that we're staying in. So tomorrow, well actually next video that you'll see is us going to Deer Island. We already went to Deer Island, but you have to go through Deer Island to go to Campobello Island, which is what we're doing tomorrow, is Campobello Island. So we'll be going back there, and then yeah, so that's our plan for tomorrow. But I thought I'd show you our hotel room before I forget. I'll start from the very beginning. Sorry, it's kind of messy. Well, my bed's a mess, but okay, so you come in here, turn some lights on. This is what you see. Obviously this table was over there when that bed was up, but here's our bathroom in here. It's kind of squishy, and we got a stand-up shower. Honestly, the pressure isn't the best, but it'll do. We got a fridge here, a microwave, table. There's like coffee up there, TV, and then like a dining area. Again, sorry for the mess. This is where I'm sleeping. It's a pull-out couch. Mom and Dad have a big king-size bed here, and we got a jacuzzi tub over here. And then over here is, we thought it was a closet, but it's actually a kitchenette. So we have a stove, sink, dish thingy. There's an oven in here and a fridge in here. So we got two fridges. So yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of our first part of our just a second, someone's here. It was just Mom. I'm showing our room. Oh. Because I forgot to. Okay, bye.
Bye bye. Be back.
So I hope you guys enjoyed of our vacation. Look forward to the next part, because we're going to another island and staying 2 nights there. And then on Wednesday we're going to pick up Mercury, and then we're off to Moncton to, in my opinion, actually have some fun. We're gonna go go-karting, go to the amusement park, and everything like that. But yeah, so I'll see you in the next video.